Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. So one thing which is always to be sure is the people who are turning up at 3:35 on the second day are really interested in the topic we are going to present. So thank you for that. And we also see the silver lining. We have already double digits of attendees. So that's actually awesome to have it here. So yeah, thanks for being here. As already the title says, we're going to present today a little bit about a holistic approach when it comes down to to e-commerce engagement. I'm happy to introduce, I'm Manuel. I'm basically the Director of Client Strategy at Bloomreach. I'm just doing a very quick introduction so that I can then hand over to our main guest today, to Andy Pickup. Andy, would like to introduce yourself shortly.
You just did, but I'm Andy Pickup. I'm Digital Marketing Director of MKM Building Supplies.
Perfect. So yeah, Andy will talk about the implementation of how basically MKM Building Supplies is using Bloomreach already today. So just a couple of observations from my side, just that we also then close a little bit in the end with the same topic. First of all, I would like to start with a little bit of statistics. You know, statistics are quite important also today. Just here, this is from a recent survey that finally, in 2022, we came to a point that 20% of global retail sales has actually been conducted via e-commerce. So we are actually finally at this point, and in my humble opinion, we have somehow reached a little bit of a roof in this area. I think it's very difficult. How do we get to 30% or even 35 or even 40%? And this is a topic I will then in the end a little bit close in this topic today when it comes down, how do we get to this 30 or 40% of share. So about today's session also, when I think about MKM Building Supplies, is of course very, very interesting because MKM is also a B2B company, which is from the engagement with the customers, it's very similar to B2C, and you see here a lot of these snippets from the news. Everybody's talking about it. B2B engagement should also become more B2C focused. It should look like B2C. More millennials are becoming B2B buyers in the future. Of course, these are people who are used to use the internet. You know, my nephews who are 20, they're not even using their smartphone as a phone. They're just using all the social media stuff. So therefore, this is going to be interesting. Secondly, and I think when we think about B2B, just here a little bit of a, let's call it an evolution, what we saw in B2B. In the very beginning, maybe already 20, 25 years ago, when the first B2B companies came online, the main thing was always competition via price. That was the main differentiator. I either bought from A or B just because of the price. Then in the last 10 years, it was more about selection. How many products am I actually able to buy online versus in the brick and mortar store? And the last thing is now, of course, more and more is competition, compete by the experience. And I think there, Andy will give us a couple of examples where they, as also a very traditional B2B company, are now going new ways how to engage customers in the future. And the third thing I just would like to mention in B2B, even though that it's very similar to B2C, always think about it. A customer, for instance, I'm a big whiskey fan, so when I go on a whiskey store, I buy a whiskey because normally either it's a gift or I would like to drink it. While, for instance, in B2B, every piece that is bought by somebody also has an application. For instance, think about it, you're buying an AC unit. Is it for an apartment building? Is it for a house? Is it for multiple apartments? You know, the builder, so basically in this case, the builders who are coming to MKM Building Supplies, they are seeking a product, they are a customer, but they have often also a very specific application of this product. While as a B2C customer, either I buy the whiskey as a gift or I drink it myself. The applications are very limited in this area. So just to introduce what are we doing as Bloomreach in this area, and I promised a 5-minute introduction. Our view on today's market still in e-commerce is often, when you think about it, this is a typical journey of a customer. So you maybe start with a certain ad, or you are receiving an email about the latest product that MKM has launched, or now a certain seasonal product. And what often happens still today is you click on this product, you're interested in it, and then you land on a dummy website which is not giving you the actual product you have maybe seen before. And even if you then maybe start searching for it, the product which you were interested in the beginning is not going through the whole process here. And this is what we see is often broken, and Andy will talk about how they have solved this process with the products from Bloomreach. And just to finalize here, what is Bloomreach doing? Very high level. So what we, in the center of our product, is really lies data. Everything, I think, you have heard hundreds of presentations and stuff already today about AI. And the basis of AI is always data. So we have the customer data and product data. So the products, for instance, MKM Building Supplies is selling. And of course, the customer data. Andy will talk about this as well. Then we have a layer in this onion model. We have a layer about AI, where we are bringing out of the box 33 AI functionalities out of the box already to you as customers. This can be from search ranking, search query relaxation, but also stuff like predictions, recommendations, and so forth. And then as the last layer, of course, we can bring this to all the channels to lure a customer to the site, but also on-site personalization. We are doing this basically with the 3 products. We are very proud that MKM Building Supplies is using these 3 products: our CMS module, our CDP and marketing automation, and our search and merchandising model. And this brings me just to finalize with 2 slides. First of all, yeah, it's always nice to have also a little bit of external recognition besides our lovely customers. The latest Forrester report about search and merchandising, where we were named as a leader in this area. And last but not least, now I'm handing over to Andy. This is basically on a very high level. I love complicated architecture so that everybody is completely confused in the audience. So the idea is, of course, always, you see it here, it's about we gather the data from all kinds of sources, we are putting it into a single marketing view of the customer, and then we are able to activate it in all kinds of channels. And this channel can be an email, but it can also be on the content, on the website, on the search and merchandising. And this brings me to Andy, who will now show us a little bit what he has done the last couple of years with Bloomreach.
Thanks, Manuel. I'm aware we're probably not the world's most sexy brand, so I'll just set the scene for you. So we're a builders merchant based in the UK, independently owned. We've got we're opening 2 branches today actually, so by the time I've finished talking, we'll have about 123 branches. We've got a very unique business model where our branches select what products they sell and how much they sell them for. So we don't have a single SKU that is sold in every branch, which adds and nobody sells it at the same price, which adds an inherent amount of complexity to how we build this solution, which is why when we looked at Bloomreach and the way we're architecting this, it fit very, very, very well in what we're trying to do. We tend to outperform the market as well, so we're taking market share off Travis Perkins and Jewson's. Every single month they're issuing profit warnings, we're having record years, and that's purely down to the model. And when we think about commerce, the website's disproportionately important to us, but we don't look at it from a revenue generation because it's just commerce. It kind of doesn't matter where the transaction happens. And I think if you think about how B2B purchases happen, especially when you've got high value or high anxiety or very technical products like solar panels or air source heat pumps, where you're spending thousands, and if you get that wrong, you can't return it. You're stuck with this big lumpy object that you don't know what to do with. So the website's almost kind of a way to sort of give the customers that information they need and qualify their kind of needs and the questions they've got around the products. And then they may go in store and buy it into a branch and buy it, or they may do it online. Why did we start this? Well, I joined about 3 years ago, and we had a really poor tech stack, and it was stopping being supported. So we had a burning platform. It was really slow. It was almost embarrassing, to the point where our branch staff were telling customers not to use it. And then when I was walking around the branch and watching our customers talk to our branch staff, they were using our competitors' websites to show products, which is quite embarrassing. And it was a tiny amount of revenue, and the industry is changing massively, as Manuel sort of alluded to. Most of our customers are retiring soon. And we've got the new breed of customers who just, if the price is wrong, they don't haggle at the counter. They'll look on their iPhone, see if they can buy it cheaper anywhere else, and if they can, they spin on the heels and they walk out the branch. So we had to sort of lean into that expectation economy of the customers. And like I said, our customers love our branches. We're slightly different in that we put our branches on retail parks. So when we're not on the back end of an industrial estate, we're next to, we bid for the same plots of land as people like Tesco and Aldi and McDonald's and Starbucks. So we have higher visibility, and the customers like that. And we have proper showrooms for kitchens and bathrooms and things like that. So we're trying to encourage that B2C customer as well, not just B2B. but they hate our website. And when I joined, we just got absolutely panned all day, every day on feedback. Everybody hated it. Nobody wanted to buy it. 1 in 10 or 1 in 15 orders just went missing. People would buy things and it never hit our ERP. So customers would come in or ring up and ask for their product, and we had no recollection. We've taken the money, couldn't find the order. So that's a bit awkward. So we started. So where we were, this is kind of where we started. Where we're a year in now, and we've doubled revenue. When we started, we have 3,000 SKUs. We're going crazy now. Our average page loads down to around about 4 seconds. Actually, we did a release today, and I've seen that, and it's down to 3 and a bit now. So we're doing quite well. Bounce rate, abandonment rates, all falling through. So it's really good, and we don't get any poor feedback anymore. The branches are ringing us, asking us, how to sell more online and things like that. Whereas before, nobody ever called me and said, how do we get more products online? How do I sell more? They were just like, can we turn the website off, please? It's embarrassing. So that kind of adoption within the branch network is really important, because if you get those behind it, you kind of want to succeed. You all know these. I guess if you work in e-commerce, these are pretty standard sort of KPIs, but we don't do anything different. We follow the same sort of KPIs, and we look at the same sort of thing. But for me, it's the really interesting bit are these two at the bottom. So you're getting the right customer numbers, you're getting customer engagement, and you're getting a good net promoter score. You can tell you're doing the right thing. And as I said, no two branches are the same, and where we want to get to is this like hyper personalization. So what Bloomreach is allowing us to do is, if you're an electrician, there's no point showing you bricks, because electricians don't buy bricks, plumbers don't buy timber. So we've got to make sure that when you land on the site, we use our first party data, what we've got from the customer, and we've got tons of it in our ERP, and we've got bits of it in Bloomreach. So things like what's the maturity of the customer, how long have they been with us, what's their credit rating? Because every customer, if you sign up for a trade account, you instantly get a credit line. You get £1,000. We don't really credit check. You do a bit of a credit worthiness score, and we'll take the hit. And then if you're a really big customer, we'll give you £20,000, £100,000 of credit. So we can understand what these customers are. So we know where they are. We know what products they're like. We know what frequency they buy, how much they spend per month. And we can tell all these kind of things. And by using their platform, we can start surfacing the right products at the right time. So if a customer, a good example probably is, if a customer buys lots of drainage and some pea gravel and some breeze blocks, they're probably starting to build an extension. So we can sort of say, judging on the volume of what you've bought, the next thing you're going to need is some bricks, some timber, some plasterboard, some insulation. So we can start predicting their intent and what they're going to buy, and we can also start predicting the volumes and the value of those products as well. So you kind of get that single view of the customer, but you also understand their timeline for their project. So we're pushing products to them before they quite need them. So you're capturing the sale quite early on. And when we talk about personalization, I mentioned localization versus personalization. If you're going to do this, do the localization bit first, because you know that kind of stuff. And people build houses out of different materials depending on where you are. So in Scotland, everybody the majority of house builders are timber framed. If you go into Yorkshire, it's a lot of York stone. If you go down south, it's traditional bricks and things like that. So how do we make sure we're understanding what the local market is, and we're pushing the right products to the right customers at the right time and through the right channel? We have 3 types of customers really. So we've got Dave the house builder. So this guy's probably what we'd call he's one of our elite customers, I guess. He probably spends upwards of £20,000 a month with us. He's got a really good relationship with the branch director, and he's probably been with us for 10 years, and he's on first name terms and plays golf with the branch director every month. You've got Bob the builder, original, I know. He's probably a person with a van, maybe 1 or 2 staff, probably medium value. He'll spread his cost with lots of different merchants to manage his credit rating. So how do we, with these guys, we're trying to understand, like, how do we capture more of that? Do we have to increase his credit rating? Do we need to show him the right products? Do we need to guide him through the journey? And then you've got Karen, who's probably like a brand new customer, and she's probably somebody who the builder or her tradesman has sent her to a branch to pick a kitchen, or a bathroom or some landscaping, and we'll buy it on their behalf. Or the builder will buy it on their behalf. And all these guys operate in different channels. So the house builder, he'll be using LinkedIn, he'll be using SMS. Bob the builder's probably more WhatsApp and email, and Karen's probably more this kind of like lifestyle kind of choice marketing, where you're looking at Instagram and Pinterest, and judging, depending on where these guys hit our site, we can give them a different experience. So we can understand where they've come from and what they've looked at, and then Bloomreach can spin up pages that allows us to sort of really tailor content to where their last click was. So everybody gets a slightly different experience. And we do this really simply, so we weave this all the way through the journey. So we've got like these 3 pillars of merchandising, from navigation, finding your products, the results you get, and then how do you get that expertise across to your customers. So in each of these areas, we've got sort of there's kind of little bits of Bloomreach that thread through all the way through the customer journey. Some are really subtle, some are not subtle at all. You know, it could be showing the right blog content, editorial content, but you've got to do it in a way that is not condescending to your customer. So if you've got a national house builder, there's no point showing him a video or a blog on how to build walls, because he's been doing this his whole career. But what you might want to do is how can you make more energy efficient homes while reducing costs for your customer and reducing there's lots of new regulations in the UK, Part L and things like that, and how do we educate them to build better and build more sustainably. If you look at the 3 pillars of content marketing, so this is where it really comes in, where we can use email and SMS and even push some content out to social around this. And when you talk about things like demo content on the product detail page, we have one product detail page, but depending on who you are, you'll get slightly different content and slightly different information. And again, all this goes all the way through, and we're using first-party data through the CRM, through our ERP and through Bloomreach, and this really allows us to kind of give that really hyper-personalised experience to the customers, where they don't know we're targeting them, they don't know we're personalising it to them. It just looks like any old site to them. But when we do usability tests on these, they're like, oh, this is actually the content I've been looking for. This is really, really prevalent to what I'm doing, and the feedback we get is really good. And then if you think about from the entire journey, these are things that we kind of obsess about all day in, day out, and these are the kind of things like that we again, Bloomreach weaved into a lot of these. But this is how we, how do we get customers to the right product? How do we get customers to the right brands? Because what we find is that our customers are very loyal to certain brands. So if they always buy a certain type of cement, they're never going to change from that, because they trust it, they know it works. And it's about kind of building up that trust and understanding what your customers' needs are. And this is kind of a bit of a customer journey here, so that might be a bit small, but if you go from left to right, so the customer opens an account and we'll start sending them an email or an SMS or even direct mail, and that's all fed through Bloomreach. And then we'll try and drive them into the branch to meet the branch director. The branch director will sit them down, they'll understand what projects they've got on, and we'll adjust their credit rating if they need to, if they need more for the jobs they're doing. If after 30 days they haven't spent, then we'll do something else. It might be a social campaign, or it might be some more email, SMS and things like that. And these are all purely automated. We don't touch these now, it's all just self-driving. We dump customers into different buckets depending on where they are in the purchase journey and life cycle of the business. And that goes all the way through. And once they've hit the website or once they've made a purchase, that's when we start using that data, because we know what they've looked at, we know what they've clicked on, we know what brands they prefer. And then that falls into even more more segmented buckets. And that's when it really kind of starts kicking off, and then you get to the bit where they start lapsing. So if we know somebody buys with us every month and then we've not seen them for 6 weeks, something else kicks in where you try and reactivate them, and again, all purely self-driving and all very, very specific content. I'll let you take that before I move on. Yeah. and then we have loyalty as well. So we have loyalty reward scheme as well, and we have quite a simple reward scheme where for every £5,000 you spend, you get a target and you get 2.5% back as a rebate, effectively. Which means we give you 2.5 pence in the pound back, and we will tell customers, like, you've got 3 months to spend £1,000, otherwise you're going to lose your rebate. And again, this is all flowing through Bloomreach, and it's all this kind of self-driving stuff. And what it means, it's almost like the marketing. We've got a team of about 17 marketeers, and it's almost like they've all got like half a personal assistant, because this kind of all does it all for them. They just set them up and self-drive, and it means they're not spending the time administering the campaigns. They're spending the time looking at the analytics and looking at improving and doing small iterative and incremental improvements to looking at the KPIs we talked about earlier on. And I'm just gonna, every time we open a branch, we do something different. All our branches are very unique, and this was just a video. It was just really nice from there's a guy who makes pictures in the sand, and while this is playing, I'm going to hand you to Manuel, and he's going to just talk to you about some new products within Bloomreach.
I think you just have to. Okay. No, just maybe. Okay, perfect. Andy, just one point, because you made the point of hyper personalization. Is there, if we would say right now, personalization, there is not one huge green button you can push and everything is personalized, because I would always argue it's like different mini tasks or mini tactics you have to do. Is there still something left to be desired at the moment, or would you say when it comes down to personalization you are at a point that you can really do what you want, or is there something still left to be desired?
I kind of don't think it ever ends. I think we start very simply, even just using colloquial language. You know, so from the northeast we'll say, or from Yorkshire we'll say "a up" on the welcome page and things like that. And there's some really basic things. But I don't think this kind of hyper personalisation ever ends, because the more the customers engage with us, the more they buy, and joining up the branch to web experience, so we can tell when they've been on the website and then bought in branch, or vice versa. So the more of that data we get, the more personalised the journeys get. So I honestly think we're just getting started, and there's a lot of AI coming. We're starting to look at a lot of AI journeys and tools that, you know, through Bloomreach and other sources that are really pushing that on for us, to be honest. It's almost day one for us at the minute, I think, still.
Yeah, that's interesting, because AI, of course, is, as I said already at the beginning of the presentation, one of the big buzzwords we have currently in the market. And of course, there will be now loads of people who are very good in AI will walk around and say this is the new big thing. Andy, you just said it yourself, for instance, like these helpers for the marketeers, for the merchandisers, which are basically like assistants. They're helping them. But what I also, and especially when I think about a builder merchant, and to be honest, I'm not a very good let's say home worker, so I'm really not good in that. But since I'm owning a house since a couple of months now, I have to get a little bit into this game. And you know what we just see is, and Andy has said it very, very nicely, the whole topic of expertise. You know, why are today, and I'm talking now really about how do we get above this 20% that's like in the beginning, why are still these Bob the builders, why are they still going into the branch? Because it's easier, the access may be easier, but also the expertise in the branch is there. The people who are working in a branch are the people who know the products, who can give you expertise. And sometimes, for instance, me, when I'm building something new, or I'm building a pergola, for instance, at home, I have no clue what kind of screw or what kind of things I need. So I'm not going on a website to directly search for something. I'm there to seek something. I'm there to I need a solution for a problem. And what we see, and this just what I'd like to finalize here, is that the next big thing we see in e-commerce is really this topic of conversational shopping. And yes, I know everybody here will now think, yeah, we had the chatbots for the last 10 years. And yes, I agree with you. These chatbots normally were quite stupid. They were just listening for some keywords. But now we're coming into this topic of AI. Andy and myself, I think the last hour before we had this chat, we were talking about that. You know, these new large language models, all of these functionalities are bringing us now to a point that we have enough data, enough computation power to finally get there. Just think about it. ChatGPT was trained with a terabyte of data and 300 million words. It's basically about the data which is flowing in there. So we really see with this conversational shopping, we have here, for instance, an example. We already have a live customer in the United States, Total Wine. It's about not building supplies, in this case it's about wine, also a nice topic.
I prefer wine.
Fan of that as well, aren't you? So basically that this conversational shopping thingy is giving you the experience like you would go into a store. What are you eating this evening? Are you eating meat, or are you having a vegetarian dish? So that somebody giving you advice on what kind of bottle of wine would perfectly fit there. And I think there are so many industries where this expertise is really needed. And I think this is the way how we can get above this 20%. So far we have done a very good job for customers who come in and know what they want to buy. But now we need to go beyond that. That also customers who come in who just need a solution, who seek something, that we can cater them as well with the e-commerce place. So just my last 3 slides, what we also already have in Bloomreach, and Andy also already mentioned it, like for instance these merchandiser and marketer co-pilot. As I said, Clarity as a new product for conversational shopping is coming out in Q1 next year, so really a new thing. And just that you see, like also stuff like AI-powered marketing content. Who really likes to write a newsletter? Why not letting a machine doing it, and then as a human I just read through it? And my last thought for today is always about AI, and I just finished my presentation lately with this picture here. And I don't know if of course, I think you recognize the guy a little bit to the right side here. This is a painting from mid 19th century. So you see Napoleon Bonaparte playing chess against a very strange fella here in the middle. And what you see in the middle is a machine actually. It's called the chess Turk. Not joking, you can look it up in Wikipedia. It was invented by an Austrian fella called Wolfgang von Kempelen. And you were actually able, and we are talking here about the beginning of the 19th century, we were able to sit there and play chess against the machine. Awesome, isn't it? So that's really great. Think about it, it's 200 years ago. Now, Wolfgang von Kempelen was really given a lot of money to find it, that he reveals what is behind this machine. The unfortunate thing, the truth is, this is how the machine actually worked internally. It was a fine piece of engineering craftsmanship, you know, all these wires and stuff like that, but in the end of the day there was a human sitting inside and actually steering the chess Turk. And the last thought of just today, when we are now finalizing the event, my last thought is always, be very careful when somebody comes with AI to you, because there could still be human intervention required. Thank you very much.